there's a word for me. I want to hear that word. But for some reason, this and I said, maybe I want to hear it and maybe I don't. But the first approach to me when he said, he actually spelled my first name.
No, sorry. So did he call out your name? Tell me what he was there
Well,
on the.
he came first
Yeah.
and then he spelled my name. And then he
No,
said,
what him said? There's a person here named Shernette or
not,
what?
my experience was different.
Tell me
But
what.
he called, he came and he called and he, called me forward.
Or he called you, or he
And
motioned
then-
to you.
Yes.
Yes, and called
And
you
then
forward.
spelled the name, and he mentioned that there are 2 J's in my life, and I said yes. Then he said, the young lady I spoke to, come forward, and I went, and he mentioned my maiden name, which is a lot of the church members
Don't
are
know.
not acquainted with my maiden name. Because persons were like, what is he talking about? But, he spelled my maiden name,
He
which is
spelled
not a
your maiden
popular,
name?
popular name, which is Higgins. And he spoke of the 2 J's, and he said Jaden, which is a firstborn. And then he said Jonas. He also stated the date and the month when Jonas was born, which is the 7th of
stated
the...
that?
He stated that. He didn't ask. He stated that. And he also spoke of when I was pregnant with Jonas that the doctors told me to abort him. And I said yes. And I'm like, not a lot. I wasn't very open about that.
You haven't given public testimonies on
No,
that?
I have not. And he said, I remember when the doctors told me to abort him, and he said, but he, you said no, and he said he's going to be, successful. He spoke into their lives. He prayed for them, and I thought more or less that I remember saying that to the Lord. If at the time when I was pregnant, I was saying, if this is not your will, you do exactly what you want. I'm not going to do anything to abort this child, but you, Lord, abort it. And I said, well, if this child is going to do exploits, I want this child for your kingdom. Go ahead again and do your thing. And that is what happened. When I went back 2 weeks after they told me to abort him, the child just popped up. They couldn't find him in the womb. They checked the tubes. They checked outside the womb. There is no baby. But when I went back after 2 weeks, this child just popped up. So I know that for someone to connect as far as 6 years ago, my child is going to be 6 in July, that this information had to be from God. He spoke of the color of my car. He gave me my license plate number down to the letters.
Yes.
So I'm like,
And you don't think it's Bishop? No, Bishop give him them things.
well, not a lot of persons. I'm not sure if Bishop knows his
don't get
plate
told
number.
that,
So, that is, that was amazing. And then,
So he gave you your license plate number?
he gave me my license plate number. And my hairdresser actually reminded me this week, because I had the car up for sale, and she was saying, you sure you're supposed to be selling that car? Because what the prophet spoke of in your life, you left from a silver car to a red car, and you're going to be in the black Benz. So are you sure that you're supposed to be? So he spoke of the transition from the 3 cars, and I heard
he
one.
spoke of.
Yes. I didn't even remember about
You have the Benz
phone in
yet?
no, I don't have the Benz yet.
But he prophesied.
He prophesied.
You're going to get the
Up
Benz?
to 2016. Yes.
You're going to have the Benz.
Definitely.
And he spoke of my house. I mean, you could live anywhere in Portmore, but he spoke of that it was 2 stories. He spoke of the color of the house on the outside. Okay, fine. Somebody probably drove by and saw it. But he went in and told me the color of the walls, the color of the
Colour of the walls
curtains,
in your house?
the color of the
cur-
fridge, which was white at the time, the maroon sofa. He spoke of the staircase that was dark wood. He spoke of the bathroom, the door that was on the left. He said, when I enter your house, he said, I'm seeing green grass on the outside. Before I enter, I'm seeing green grass. What are those gray things? And I said, stepping stone. And he said, stepping stones. He actually asked what it was, and I told him what it was. He entered, he said, it's a white door. And he said, I'm looking straight into your kitchen. And I'm seeing also another glass door. And there's a room where I saw you praying, and Jaden came to disturb you, and you told him you were praying, which has happened. Yes. This is not something that I went to discuss with Bishop or anybody. That I was praying, and Jaden came to disturb me, and that is something that he spoke of. And when he said that, I said, this has to be from God. He spoke of where I worked.
Where
He
work?
spelled the company name. He started spelling S-A-G-I, and he said, Saji. Saji, what is that? And persons just
Sagicor?
spell it out in the congregation, Sagicor. Not only, okay, fine, he got their workplace, but he started to explain how the place was configured in terms of arrangement, seating arrangement.
Surgical work?
And the first floor, well, fine, the first floor was configured a few months ago. So he got the new formation.
The new configuration?
Yes. And he stated where I was sitting and that there would have been a promotion in which I was moved from that seating area to another seating area, which is a promotion.
Yes,
he spoke of a
things to
little
get right.
room, a little private room in which we now created a mini meeting room. That was recently with the configuration, because I turned up after a weekend and saw the new thing. We didn't even know how it was going to be situated. He spoke of exiting the branch, that there is a wall with picture frames, and there is a man and there is a woman. That's, you know, two of the top agents in my branch. Their pictures were there. When I went in the morning and sat at my desk and I looked up, I said, oh my God. It was amazing. He didn't say who they were, but he said a man first and a woman. And I knew exactly who he was talking about. And when I went in the morning, I went in early and sat and looked, and I said, this has to be God. He spoke of many other things. But I'm telling you, there are things that you say, okay, those things are general.
Yes.
But when he went
specific.
and he spoke of my son's birthday, their names, my maiden name, not a lot of persons know my maiden name because I don't use it. I don't use it professionally or on any identification. So you wouldn't pick it up readily and know that it's me. But, you know.
And he got so many things
Yes.
right. One can guess and get some things right. But the probability of getting so many things right
Back to back.
is not
Yes.
very high.
Yes.
So even if one were to take a skeptical look at it, and just by the laws of probability, the rational laws of probability, it is not likely that you have gotten all of those things right. And then he took a big chance to be before all these people,
Yes.
mentioning so many things about which he could be wrong.
Right.
And Bishop, you have seen some other things too on the Prophet's
Absolutely.
ministry.
The first time I saw Prophet Passion
Yes.
was in Miramar, Florida,
Florida.
December last year. And we were in a service. The pastor of our Emmanuel Church in Perrine, another location in Florida, brought him to the service. They came late. We had pretty much finished the service, but when he came in, you know, he sat beside me. And towards the end of the service, they gave him the microphone. He started prophesying to people in the church. One of the girls to whom he gave one of the most notable prophecies was a member from our church previously in Portmore who has been there.
Yes.
She had some serious health issues. This is the first time I met him, when he sat beside me in that service. And he started prophesying of her illness and how God has healed her. And he started calling her sister's name in Jamaica. I don't even know the sister's name because she wasn't a member of the church. And several others that night. Several others. So at the end of the service, I said to him, Prophet, I'd like to invite you to Jamaica. And before I finished it, he said, I'm coming.
Yes.
He said,
And
I'm
by the
coming.
January he was here.
And by the January he was here. And there are so many. There was one lady in the Kingston church. When he called her up, listen to this. He said to her, I'm seeing you dressed like a nun. Were you ever a nun? She said, no. He said, you're never in the Catholic Church? She said, no. He said, I'm seeing you in Israel. Have you been to Israel? She said, no. And we thought, uh-oh, this is a
Yes,
flop.
God, yes.
And then he said, okay, I see you standing beside the well in Samaria, but Jesus is beside you. How many husbands have you had? She said, 5.
That's the connection.
Ian,
Yeah.
I mean the church.
And
knew
the
fellow.
lady said 5.
Huh? The lady said
5
5. And then he named all 5 of them and told her which one she was going to get married to. She's planning the
He
wedding
named.
now. This happened at Snipe Road.
You witnessed that at Snipe
The whole
Road.
church witnessed it. Thousands of people witnessed it. That was in January when he came the first time.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And the things that I've read in the press have said that from Zimbabwe in Africa, I mean, he has this, because he has come to the attention of the press, and that he has this, well, the skeptical press was saying the knack for, but certainly is widely known for these dramatic manifestations. People don't know what to say. The skeptics don't know what to say. But religious people say that God is continuing to work, and that this shows that the prophetic anointing is still in operation and that God continues in the miracle business.
Yeah.
And your ministry you see as continuing in this dynamic fashion. Where do you think God wants to take you?
We are living in the last of the last days. And when Jesus appeared to me, he told me that he is raising me as a prophet that is going to prepare the second coming of Christ. Because
That's
Jesus,
how crucial you see your mission.
yes,
You're preparing for the second coming.
yes.
You
So
believe you will see
Jesus
Jesus
is-
in your lifetime? The second coming is likely in your lifetime.
I didn't get that wrong.
Do you think that the second coming of Christ is likely to occur in your lifetime?
No one knows the time,
Okay,
but I would want him to come as soon as possible.
okay, okay. But you
So
want to
he
do your
told
best to
me
prepare.
that this is the last of the last time, and he's raising me to prepare the second coming, because he's about to come and take his church.
Okay.
But we must go and win souls. The evangelical gift, like this gift that I have, which draws many to Christ.
That's true.
When they come, we preach the gospel to them. What happens is whenever you preach and the presence of God is there, the devil won't be happy. The devil also raises other people. Number one, false prophets will also rise.
Okay.
Number two, people will write things that they want to write
Yes, I
in
read.
order to fight the movement of God.
Okay.
People will say a lot in order to fight the will of God. But above all, the most important thing is God have got different gifts and different people that he uses. Someone may be religious about the prophetic. God will use someone in the evangelical. Another one in apostolic. It's God raises people differently.
Different denominations.
Exactly. So above everything, it's not about what people say. It's about what is God saying.
Yes. And people have been saying a number of negative things about prophet. You can read negative things about him. He's aware of these things. He doesn't seem to be particularly perturbed by them. But you know, some of these issues we will raise here on Religious Hard Talk. We do that when we come back after another break. Prophetic sensation, passion, Java. He would describe himself in more measured terms, but you know us journalists. He certainly has been creating quite a wave in Jamaica, but not only in Jamaica. Wherever he goes, he hails from Zimbabwe, and wherever he goes around the world, the stories are the same. He calls out people, he tells them their license numbers, he gives them information that is just mind-blowing. We have had a testimony here on this program about one such experience. Prophet, one of the articles I read about you talked about your fancy cars. You have several expensive cars, how you dress, you know, expensive clothing. I saw your cell phone lined with gold. You have on quite an expensive shoes. It seems that way to me. Why all of this fanciness? Why do you know, new style preachers, you know, exhibit this flashiness? Why not the humility of Christ?
What we call expensive determines on our capacity.
What kinds of cars do you have?
Well, I've given all my cars before I left Zimbabwe.
You gave away
And
your cars.
recently I bought a Lamborghini.
You bought a Lamborghini,
So that's the only car I have now.
which is worth more than the three luxury cars that you have, but you're driving a Lamborghini. Why would you do that?
Well, these cars are designed for us to drive.
Yes.
And I don't expect someone demon possessed to drive a car while the child of God is walking without a car.
But you could buy a simple car,
What
a Mazda.
I might
It would
call
take you where
Lamborghini
it could take
simple
you the
car.
same place where the Lamborghini would
I
would
might
take
call Lamborghini simple car.
you. You would call it simple car.
Eh,
The poor would
remember, we have cars that are like in America. You can buy a car with $2,000. Some other people buy for 20,000, some other for 200,000, from another 2 million
have, yes.
up to 8 million buying cars. So you buy a car according to your capacity. The problem only comes when you are a pastor and you take people's money in the church and you buy a car. But if you work hard, I'm a designer. All these suits that you are
You're a designer?
selling, yes.
Oh.
I have my own company.
You have your own company.
I have
So you
another
earn your
company
own
for trucks.
money. Oh.
I have another company. I have Passion Java Records.
You have a record company.
Yes. So if a pastor is in business and is working hard and is bringing money in the table, let him enjoy his sweat. The only problem comes when people get in the church to preach for money and take money from people. This is the bishop that invited me here in Jamaica. If you ask him if I came here to take any money, I was here
In fact, I heard the opposite. I heard you give away money.
Giving is the main
That's what
thing
I
in
hear.
what
I
we
hear
do.
you give away a lot of money. People tell me that,
Giving is the main thing.
that you give away.
And the more we give, the more we receive.
Yes.
The
So
Bible
you
says,
sow a
"Give
lot.
and
You plant. You sow in